We're at Blackfriars. There may be trains in the background. Chris, what's that building again?
That's the Vars.
Isn't that where Southeastern are based?
No. They're based over at Moor London, next to London Bridge. So
I thought they used to be in there. That's why I chose here.
No. Southeastern used to be based at the old British Rail building down the road.
I thought there was a railway in there. Anyway,
no.
you might see
Friars Bridge Court is what you're thinking of down there.
You might see a Thameslink train go past in the background. Hello, good afternoon. It's the last sunny day of 2022. Last weekend I was with my friend / colleague Christopher Denham. Hi Chris.
Hi Jeffrey.
What's your job title at Network Rail? Southeast Division?
It's friend of Jeffrey.
Friend of Jeffrey.
No, I'm a communications manager. And
we were doing some filming last weekend, which we'll get to in a second. But on the way back from doing that filming, it just got me thinking. I remember thinking, how did I end up here today doing some filming, making the film about what we're making about? And I tried to think back to when I first met you. Can you remember the first time that I met you?
Yes, I can remember. You were making a film for the Londonist at London Bridge, and we went for a walk around the station when it was still a building site and ogled the expanded polystyrene that they were using to fill the voids of the that became the platform decks. Do you remember? And going, can you believe they're building a station out of polystyrene?
And because you're like with the hand, you're like, yeah. Do you remember what year that was?
Oh, I don't want to think, man. 2016?
6 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, well, you look so young and so fresh. Are you doing the same job now as you were then, or have you progressed through the ranks?
Yeah, essentially. I'm still doing the same thing I've been doing for 10 years.
That's fine. And then, can you remember some of the other videos we've made? Because we did one of my favourite videos on my channel, which has had a disappointing number of views.
You've just basically exposed my lack of career plan right there. Have you progressed? Have you been promoted, Chris? No.
Do you remember, was it 2016, was it 2017? You rang me up on like Christmas Eve and you went, what are you doing Boxing Day in like 2 days? With 2 days warning, Chris went, come for a helicopter ride.
Yeah, man. So back then I was working for the Thameslink programme, and they had funding to go and send the helicopter out to review survey tracks and things like that while we had the I think we had a blockade on. And so they said, look, we've got a free seat, have you got someone we can take up? And I was like, yeah, because I was going to take pictures. So
please go and watch that with me and Chris in a helicopter.
That was so much fun.
My favourite videos, right? And then I came down and we did the New London Bridge, and we've done the Brighton Tunnel, and we did the landslide. So you've been in about 5 or 6.
I forgot the landslides.
I know, the landslides, which was just... Do you remember
Day
that?
before COVID. Day before COVID lockdown. We went to McDonald's and we weren't allowed in.
Tunbridge, was it?
East Grinstead.
East Grinstead.
And we weren't allowed in. It used to be a tradition. It was the last time we were able to do it.
No, they taped up the seats, so you could only get takeaway.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy went, we might have to close by Saturday. And I went, what, really? No, wait, what? And that's when that was my first indication that it was going to go really bad.
Yeah, man.
Because if McDonald's closes, then, the world is ending. And
that was the thing. We used to go and have a McDonald's, didn't we? And that was literally the last time.
As a treat, as a reward for all our hard work. So that was March 2020. It's now October 2022. I will get onto in a minute the video, which... Have you started editing yet? So
no, tomorrow.
Basically yourself, myself, and Mr. Tim Dunn. We're down at the Romney Hythe and Dymchurch Railway last weekend.
My favourite railway.
And you were, because you're a Kent boy, right?
Yeah, man.
But what I want to know is, we'll get onto why that's your favourite place as a Kent boy. How long have you been with Network Rail now? I just want to know.
10 years and 5 months.
10 years. And what was your job before that?
I worked for the BBC in Kent and Sussex.
My question is when you got into Network Rail, doing the oppressor stuff, was that a bit of a dream for you to get a railway job?
Yeah, I mean...
How did you end up getting that job?
Yeah, so I've been a reporter in various jobs in journalism in Kent for my whole life. Well, not my whole life, obviously when I was a child. I wasn't a journalist in Kent, but since 2000. I got my first job in journalism in 2000, and I always enjoyed writing about railways. Always took every opportunity to do railway things when I worked for the local paper. Did cab rides through the Channel Tunnel, all sorts of fun.
So before your Network Rail job, you were doing train things.
Yeah, I love any opportunity, and so the opportunity came up to join Network Rail. It was amazing. It was brilliant because it was an opportunity to write and talk about trains and be paid for the privilege. And 10 years and 5 months later, I'm still paid for the privilege to write and talk about trains. So you can't beat that, can you, really?
What would you be doing if you weren't writing about trains then? You'd just be doing normal journalism? Normal journalism?
No, I don't know, man.
Okay.
I genuinely, that's a really existential question.
It is.
What would you do without trains? I genuinely don't know what
I'm having an existential phase of
Jeff,
my
I
life.
genuinely don't know what I would do.
Well, then we've got.
What would you do?
Hang on, this is
What would
about
you
me
be
chatting to
doing?
you. No,
No, but Jeff, come on, you can't suddenly like raise a question like, what would you do without trains? I have no idea. I wouldn't even if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now for the railway. What would I do? I'd probably try and get another job on the railway.
I can tell you, just for, I'll make you laugh. When I grew up as a child, you know, when you grow up as a child, people are like, I want to be a fireman or I want to be an astronaut. Yeah, always wanted to be a diver, like deep sea diver. Saw a documentary about Jacques Cousteau when I was very young.
No way.
So I want to go diving, and then it turned out I sort of get very claustrophobic when going underwater. I tried scuba as a lesson once, and then I went underwater, and I felt all claustrophobic.
I did too.
And I was like, no, I don't like it.
Also, I did scuba. I did it for a feature at the newspaper in the old Ramsgate swimming pool. And when you've got the big mask on and everything, I wasn't claustrophobic, but I could see all what was floating around in the swimming pool. I thought, I really don't want to be here. So that was the end of the Jacques Cousteau years.
Anyway, but we're going to get to the crux of my question to you, and then we'll talk about your.
No, I
thing.
want to know about what you would do without railways. Would you be
I'd be a deep sea
Would you
diver.
be making films about diving?
I'd go and I'd do a.
Would you be like
documentary about
welding oil rigs in the North Sea?
Christopher, shush. Why, as a journalist, before you got to know it rail, why did the train thing interest you?
Oh, trains. Well, it's because I
had it been there from a young age.
Yeah. So I think my parents had a toddler or whatever, and they didn't really know what to do with him because there's no book, is there, when you become a parent that goes, and here's what you do. You know,
Is
you
there
kind
not
of
a book?
you're just left with this thing, and it's like, what do I do with this? And so they took me on the Romney Huntingdon Railway, which was our local steam railway, and apparently, ever after, and in fact even now, I fell instantly asleep the minute I got on it, and then slept all the way around, and then woke up as we came back to Hyde.
How old were you?
I was about 2 or 3.
So you don't really remember?
Oh no, I do remember it. Yeah, very much.
You
Yeah,
fell
very
asleep?
strongly. Well, I remember falling asleep. I have skills in that area, and so and my dad took me there, and that was I was doomed. And my poor dad, I always used to think that he was an enthusiast because he was always taking me on the steam railway, but he wasn't at all. He thinks it's totally mystifying that I like railways, and but he took me down there because that was all I wanted to do, was travel on the Romney. And we lived overseas. I grew up overseas, and even when I was living overseas, all I really wanted to do was go back to England and travel on the Romney. So I was a little bit. You may have gathered from this that I may be a little bit monomaniacal.
But why the Romney? If it had been another sort of, is it fair to call it a miniature or a heritage line?
Well, it's a miniature railway. It's 15-inch gauge. So, but we were near the Kent and East Sussex, which is still there. It's up in Tenterden, and we went on that, and we went on the Bluebell. But they never did it for me. I was all about the Romney, because the Romney, as a kid as well, that the locos are a little bit more relatable because they're more your size. You know, they're not huge. They're kind of relatable. And they also feel like they're going much faster. I mean, you found it. You're only going at 20. I mean, back in the day, they used to go a bit faster than that. But you feel like you're absolutely blasting along, and they make a great sound as well. So yeah, for me, the Romney was just, and it's still my favourite. So yeah.
Okay, if the Romney, and we will come back to that in a second. If it wasn't your favourite,
Right.
what I guess what I'm asking is, what's your second favourite?
Oh, the Talafin. As Tim Dunn would say. As Tim Dunn would say, it's just a lovely, friendly, wonderful little
That's
railway.
a close second, right?
Yeah. I was there in April at Abergyn-Olwyn, and it's fabulous. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like lots of railways, but those are my two that I would always come back to. Yeah.
But has working with train, because you have to travel by train a lot, see a lot of trains, you see a lot of train stuff, you know a lot of train stuff. When you get to go on holiday, do you just think, the last thing I want to do?
No, I want to go on more trains. Oh no, we're going on holiday soon to a country that I think's got one railway, and of course I am going to go and find it. And no.
Do you want to say where? Or
No.
Okay.
No.
There's people out there now googling what country's only got one
railway.
That's not Liechtenstein, is it?
No, and it's not Nepal either. Although I did go to Nepal for work a few years ago, not for railway business, and I was disappointed that we didn't visit the only railway line in Nepal. Sad times. But no, I would. Oh no, absolutely. But it is an interesting point you make, because I think I talked about being monomaniacal, as I believe you are as well.
I don't know what that means. I will have to Google that later.
Well, just a little bit like I find it very, very difficult to focus on anything until I focus on one thing,
Right.
and then I become obsessed with it.
I know that feeling, and I'm sure there are people watching that
Who know what that
I
means.
also do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're nodding. They're like, no, that's me. That's what I do.
So I go through phases like everybody, you know, where I've got the latest thing and it's whimsical, and then there's this thing, and you know, but railways I always come back to, always. And you know, but aside from that, it is slightly different when it's your day job as well. But and I know Tim Dunn, who we went out with the other day. I mean, that guy. You think I love railways? I mean, Tim, you know, he works all week on railway stuff, and at the weekend he's doing more railway stuff.
More railway stuff.
I mean, even I have my limits, and I think he's well beyond that. He's the ultimate railway guy.
I'm just going to do a quick edit. That's me edit. We're on to a second clip now. It's fine.
That red thing wasn't there.
It really was.
Was it?
We're having an argument about whether I've been recording.
I didn't see the. Really?
Now, I don't want to get.
What if I'm right though?
Then you're only watching part 2 of this video. Part 1 is there. Then I won't release the
I've
video.
just been talking about me. It's really dull, man. We need to talk about other stuff.
You came to me back in the summer and went, I want to get you and Tim down to the Romney Hive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
without spoiling the whole thing, just give us a little bit of what we did and what it's about.
Man.
And then, because I can then link to it and promote to it from my video to talk about the video which you've made.
Which I'll be editing tomorrow.
What was it we did?
So I wanted to go for a ride with you and Tim because, well, firstly because you're my friends, and you know,
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful, man. We met through work, and yet friendship has grown, and that's a wonderful thing. But no, I wanted to go down because, oh man, things are just hard, you know, for everybody. Everywhere you look.
As in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, we come out of the pandemic. We've
world,
got,
right.
you know, politics is in a mess. If you work for the railway, as I do, you know, there's ongoing industrial relations problems and, you know, a degree of uncertainty. Sorry, we're on the flight path to London City Airport.
Plane, yeah.
They kind of do a hanger right at this shard, and we happen to be underneath it.
Do you think they actually do? Pilots coming in going, right,
They do.
Right, lads, right at the shard.
Yes, so if you look at the approach plates, so I'm an aviation nerd as well, for London City Airport, that is exactly what they do. They never get by. But anyway,
2022.
2022, it's tough, man, and it makes things like railways, you know, places you can go where you can forget about the world for a minute and just enjoy the company of your friends and talking about whatever it is you dig, in my case steam trains, is really, really, really important. And I think sometimes also maybe, you know, the internet's brought a lot of people together who, you know, maybe train nerds, or maybe they're just like got a vague interest in it or whatever. And I thought it'd be great to meet you and Tim and talk about how important that is to all of us. So if other people are out there maybe not feeling great, struggling a bit, you know, go for a ride on a train. You know, call your friends up and say, "Do you want to come for a steam train ride with me?"
But have you genuinely done that in the past? You're like, I'm having a terrible week. I know. I'll just go and ride some trains.
Yeah, of course.
With my mates, and then it's made you feel better.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the Romney Hyde Nimchurch Railway, definitely, 100%. And I've fallen. And funnily enough, you know, I talked about how when I was a kid, I fell asleep the minute I got on the railway. I still kind of do, and in fact, Tim did on Sunday. You were driving the diesel, and
he have a little sneaky nap?
And he had a sneaky nap.
He had a little middle-aged man.
He had a little middle-aged man nap. I filmed him. I've got it. I'll put it in the film.
Oh, please put that in the final
Well,
cut.
I was frustrated because I wanted to have a little nap. But I was filming. I couldn't, man, and I needed to film you out the window. Do you remember?
I didn't have a nap all day.
I know.
Do you know what? I had a nap on the train home. On the way back, we got the high speed. Tim's doing his like Instagram, Twitter pictures, whatever.
Yeah, he's good at that.
And I'm like, I'll have a little nap.
Yeah.
And he was still twittering away. Have you ever had a bad train journey? Have you ever like tried to like go out and enjoy the trains and then they've just made you grumpy? You know, maybe there was an incident. Do you get grumpy when things go wrong on the railway, or because of your knowledge and expertise, do you like, I know why this has gone wrong, and I'm not going to get frustrated?
Yeah, no, I don't normally get annoyed. No, I mean usually I do most of my train travel around here, obviously, and I also manage the social media accounts for work. So if something goes horribly wrong, the chances are I should probably be tweeting about it anyway. So it tends to sort of the Kent and Sussex one and the Wessex one, yeah.
Okay. Oh, and the Wessex one.
Yeah.
I always forget that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that can be. Yeah. So yeah. No, I don't get annoyed. No, because as I say, I'm. it's usually part of my job to deal with it. So there's always something you can do, you know, when you work on the railway. You can, you know, there's always something you can be involved in, something you can do to help.
Because you are trained, you don't just sort of, you know, do photos and you know, you've got a PTS, like you've got technical.
I've got a PTS, yeah, but I
right?
can't go on. Yeah, that's not. That's not
What
that
are
useful.
you? What are you? And what aren't you allowed to do then?
Well, PTS doesn't really allow you to do an awful lot, except, you know, if you've got a possession somewhere or whatever, and you can you know, and you've got a controller of site safety with you, you can go onto the track, you know, under certain conditions. But there's very few people, even at Network Rail, who have permission to actually go on the track on their own, lone working. There's very few. Mobile operations managers is pretty much it. Everybody else, there's rules you have to adhere to. So even if you have PTS, you can't just wander onto a railway.
Is it because whenever we've gone out, you're the white hat, and I get teased. In the
you get the blue hat
because I'm the blue hat.
That's right. Yeah.
But is that what? If I did it, is it something you have to refresh it yearly? Like,
yeah.
It's an annual thing.
Yeah, you do a refresher every year, your annual competency check, ACC. Yeah, and you can have PTS and have a blue hat. So if you only go out once or twice a year, I mean, you probably wouldn't need PTS if you only go out once or twice a year, but the blue hat's just a signifier to tell everybody to pay extra attention and make sure you're all right. Whereas a white hat, it just you've been out loads of times over the years, you're probably unlikely to fall down a hole.
Has it got easier to communicate via social media? Because a minute ago you were talking about how, you know, it's enabled people to get together. What I hate about social media is that, yes, it's allowed people with similar interests to all find each other. So those that love trains, it's like, yes, we love trains, but if you've got some people that, you know, they can be angry about something together, it's brought all facets of, you know, of all communities together. But generally, when you put out a little video on Twitter going, sorry that the line is closed next month, do you get more feedback from it? Do you think it helps? Does it really work?
Oh man!
Do you just get angry people going,
no, I mean,
why is there a replacement bus?
It's a difficult question, because I think when you work in the railway industry, and in my case you've got, you know, you follow the railway industry as a whole because you're interested in the same with you, it's very easy to think everybody digs it and everybody's interested in it. When in reality, I would say 90% of customers don't even know what colour South Eastern's trains are. I'm using South Eastern as an example, it could be any operator. And, you know, I know because I've been on the Network Rail test train and we pulled into a station and people try and get on it. It's bright yellow, it says Network Rail on it.
I did exactly the same thing the other day. I was on South Eastern, and you just know that the blue ones are the expresses and the white ones are the stoppers. Yeah, and the blue one was coming through slow for some reason, probably like a double yellow signal. And my friend that I was with, they got up, they were like, train. I was like, no, it's not stopping. They were like, how do you know? Well, apart from the fact that I know about trains, I'm like, have you never worked out that blue means not stop and white is stop? Most people don't care.
No, they don't care. They don't know. And you know, when I go to watch Whitstable play football, everyone's like, "How's British Rail?" You know, and occasionally Rail Track. No, they do. Yeah.
They still think you work for British Rail.
Yeah, I think they just can't remember the name of it. I mean, Network Rail has been around for a while. To be fair, 20 odd years.
I mean, we're going to get great British Rail. So
it's coming back.
Like, if you wait long enough, it comes
around. It's Great British Railways. Yeah. So just to make it even more complicated. But yeah.
Wow.
So in answer to your question, does it make a difference to people? I think it does. I think it helps people understand that we're not. You know, the reason you're stuck is, or the reason there's no trains is we're doing X, Y, and Z, and here's a video about it. But in terms of engagement, in terms of the people who really watch the films all the way through, who really respond to some of the sort of information threads we do, most of the time they're already people who've got an interest, and the odd customer. Sorry, I was just going odd because your GoPro was about to go for a walk.
Yeah, I thought, was that person about to steal my GoPro?
No, I think the young lad was about to give it a boot.
He was going to give it an oink. Okay.
So yeah, definitely social media is great. It's given us a lot more opportunity to talk to people and explain what we're doing, and hopefully make them feel a little less angry with us when things do go wrong. But it's not a silver bullet. And at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is just run a reliable railway. You know.
Okay, right, we'll wrap up shortly. Where can people watch your Run Me Higher Than Dim Church? Me and Tim. Are you in it, or is it just me and Tim?
I do a couple of pieces of camera, but it's mainly you and Tim. Yeah.
It's just us bigging up our love for railways.
Yeah, it's basically just an opportunity to hang out together and talk about railways, but it could be anything. So do you know what? And I was reading an article in the newspaper the other day. What?
No, go on.
You were
I don't know where you're going with this.
You were cringing. No, it happens
right.
to be
What's
railways
he
for
gonna
us.
say? Yeah.
But so I was reading the newspaper the other day that YouTube channel that does videos about Formula One, which is not a sport I'm into, but I'm aware it exists. This guy in the newspaper was saying, I can't believe they got like 40,000 people to turn out and watch this event that they'd done. And I was thinking, well, that's kind of, you know what I mean? That kind of what YouTube has given us and social media in general has done. Is it's kind of uncorked the bottle of everybody's individual interests and given them the ability to really get into detail and watch films that don't patronise them, that don't need to appeal to everybody, that can actually just appeal directly to them and their kind of view. I mean, can you imagine, like, you know, Jeff Marshall appearing on actual telly 20 years ago? You know, it just wouldn't have happened, and that's not because you're not great on camera.
I did had a look. I did once.
Did you? What did you do?
I was in a Tube episode.
Really?
Running around Tube. Yeah, but I wasn't like presenting a show or like, you know, a main. That's what you mean, like being like.
Yeah, exactly. And what it does is, but what YouTube and what other, you know, what social media has done is it's allowed people to really, find their people, find their tribe, find their subject, and enjoy it.
What are we doing over the next 6 months? Come on, take me on.
Oh, I was just talking to someone about you. I was just saying we need to go and see. We're doing a massive project in southwest London around Feltham. So Feltham Power Signal Box, which is a strange-looking building in Feltham. I say strange because it doesn't look like what you would imagine a signal box would look like. That's going out of service in the next few years. We're re-signalling the whole area, and and Wokingham Signal Box as well, which is a more traditional lever box. That's going too. So yeah, that's going too. So we need to go and see some of that. And then the other thing that's going on, and talk about again more re-signalling slightly closer to here, is we're gradually moving all of the panels from Victoria ASC, which is actually at Clapham Junction.
Could you explain what ASC stands for?
Area Signalling Centre. Victoria Area Signalling Centre is in Clapham Junction. It's a really just like the most hideous building I've ever seen ever, off to the left. So there's a really lovely Art Deco signal box which isn't in use anymore at Clapham. Behind that is this 1970s nuclear bunker, which is Victoria Signalling Centre. It's actually quite nice inside.
But from the outside,
quite nice. But outside,
it's like the one at London Bridge. That was like a concrete.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
We were there a few years ago.
That's right. Yeah. So it's actually, I'd say that London Bridge signal box was better looking than Victoria ASC. Victoria ASC is astonishingly ugly outside.
How many years away are we from there being no?
I think we're quite a long way away from that, because there comes a point where, you know, you can make the spares for that kind of signal box. You know, they exist probably, you know, ad nauseum. There are specialist companies that do it, because if you think about preserved railways, heritage railways, they have to make new kit, and so you can keep them going. For almost until the end of time. I mean, not quite. Whereas 1960s and 70s technology, which relies on stuff like relays and electronics like that, it's actually really quite difficult to get spare parts for. So what you're going to see is your Victorias and your Felthams will go. The far ends of the network, so Hastings has got a manual box, Deal's got a manual box, Littlehampton. I think they'll probably last a bit longer, just because the costs of re-signalling them are not necessarily reflected in the kind of advantages it would bring you.
Are we talking like 20 years, 50 years, 100 years? Where's the last place in Britain on the mainline railway that you predict
that's a guess.
will have a... Because you think it's going to be like up in Cumbria or something?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's that massive signal box that Tim goes on about, Seven Tunnel Junction at Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
Shrewsbury. That's amazing. Have you been in there?
I've not been in it. I mean, I know.
The interlocking is unbelievable. It's like a massive room.
One day that will get upgraded.
Yeah, one day it will. But again, that's where you'd look at the cost benefit of doing it, and I think it's not quite as clear cut as you think. Where I think the thing that will drive it will be, so for instance in Kent we've got some manual signal boxes near where I am in East Kent, where the block sections, so do I have to explain what a block section is, or do you view as no?
I'd assume most people would know, but you can if you want.
So on the railway, the railway is divided up into block sections, and no trains, so you can't have two trains in one block section unless something has gone wrong or there's like a special thing happening, like a shunt. So yeah, where you have really long block sections, because there's manual signal boxes, if they want to cut those block sections in half and run more trains, then one of the ways you can do it is resignaling it and getting rid of the manual boxes. So that might drive it. We're getting rid of Chartham gate box this Christmas and Y as well. The manual gates are being upgraded to modern equipment. So you'll see that happen. But yeah, I think manual boxes will be around longer than you expect.
Right. Final question. You're going to work with railways for the rest of your life, Chris? Is this it?
Oh man.
Railways till you die.
I don't know, man.
Railways in your veins. Trains in your veins.
I really like aviation, dude.
Train veins.
It would be transport. It'd have to.
Transport.
Look, I don't want to. These are really difficult times, and I'm just really lucky to have a job. I'm really, really lucky to have a job that I enjoy in an industry I love. I don't take it for granted, and I understand that a lot of people out there, aren't as lucky as me. So when you say, will I work in the railway forever? I don't think it'll be in my hands. Do you know what I mean? If I'm really lucky, then yeah. But I'm not so arrogant as to presume that it will always be in my hands.
Wow, well, it went very deep and serious.
No, but it's true.
No, I like that. No, thank you.
A lot of people would love to work on the railway, and haven't been able to, and yeah. So I appreciate that. I'm very lucky in that I do.
Okay. Weirdly, I'm going to totally break the spell by pointing out you've now got a spider crawling down your collar. You really have. He's about to crawl onto your face.
Well, can you take him off then?
There we go. He's a spider. And with that, Chris Denham, thanks very much.
No, it's always good.
Thanks for joining me. Should we go and get another cup of tea? We already had a cup of coffee. We should go and get another one.
Another beverage.
All right, okay. When we should do another. Is this going in?
Yeah, no, but it's really. Just
you being sincere.
It's the theme of what we were talking about earlier about going on the run behind Dymchurch Railway, and the key thing for me is that doing everything we can so the railway lives and thrives and is still here for us in 2 or 3 years. And I'm sure it will be. We've just got to get through the next couple of years, and we'll get there. All will be well again. But we're only going to do it, not just on the railway, but everywhere, if we support each other and love each other and work together. And no, it's really important. It's really important.
It's Chris Denham. There'll be a link to his video when it's done in my description.
It'll be on the RH&DR YouTube site.
The Romney Hythe and Dymchurch.
Romney Hythe and Dymchurch Railway YouTube site.
Press subscribe on my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye.